Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at this 2022 BMW 530i. Huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this sedan for me today. They have a massive selection of new and used inventory. Check out that link down in the description. But the 530i that you see behind me is finished off in Bernina Gray Amber Effect Metallic, and they have a starting MSRP right around $54,000. And to start off today's review, let's take a look at what powers this 530i. Underneath the hood is the 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder engine paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. This pumps out 248 horsepower around 5,200 RPM and 258 pound-feet of torque around 1,400 RPM. That power sent to the rear wheels. This weighs in right around 3,800 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in just under 6 seconds with a top speed of 130 miles an hour. And it has a fuel capacity of 18 gallons. You'll expect to see around 23 miles per gallon in the city and 32 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 117.1 inches. Its overall length is 195.8. It has a width of 73.5 and a height of 58.2 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this 530i, let's start off with the kidney grille, finished off in gloss black. As you can tell, this has active grille shutters, so they will open to provide more cooling to this engine and then close when needed. I love all the vertical slats that run throughout it. Gives it a really nice design. Now this model also has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. I love the DRL design along with the turn signal, and it's a sleek housing that matches nicely for the front of this vehicle. Now in the lower bumper, there's a lot more gloss black, a lot more cutouts in the vents too. There's even parking sensors, and then there's even functional air inlets on the far corners to provide even more aerodynamics and really nice crisp lines running throughout the lower section. And then as far as the hood goes, very nice lines running down both sides. So it ties in nicely with that front end look. Now as we make our way to the side, this model has a set of 20-inch wheels with a multi-spoke design, two-tone finish. Even the red M brakes are located just behind those. There's a functional trim piece just behind that tire so that the air can go around the front tires and exit that trim piece going down the side of the vehicle. This even has the body colored side mirrors with the integrated turn signal. As you approach the vehicle, it will unlock and fold them out. This has a sunroof up top, more gloss black surrounding the window trim. As I walk away from the vehicle, it will automatically lock. That is a setting that you can adjust. You'll see those side mirrors fold in. And it has a really nice design. I love the line that goes right through the height of the door handle, as well as all the lines in the lower section of the side skirt. Gives it a great design. And then last up for the rear, this has a set of LED taillights, which have a dark housing to them. It looks really nice. There's a backup camera right in the middle, all of the parking sensors, and then the dual exhaust is in the lower diffuser with some off-gray trim just to accent it nicely. Now with the exterior wrapped up for this 530i, let's make our way to the cargo space now. I can use the button on the key fob or the electronic button up underneath. It will automatically open up. And for the sedan, this has a good amount of space for the trunk. There's some battery access on that driver's side, a little bit of a storage bin over on that right side. And then you can also fold these back seats down. So just by pulling on these tabs on each side, you can fold those down. It provides us with a lot more interior storage. So it definitely makes it very practical. Now for the power trunk, you can close and lock it. The one on the left side will just close it. And now this BMW actually has remote start. You can turn that on and off in the center infotainment system. In order to activate it, all I need to do is triple tap on the lock button and it will automatically start up. Now you can shut this off just by triple tapping that button again. So if you need to do that for whatever reason, you have the option to. And then from there, we can make our way to these back seats where you'll see the door panel has a nice design to it. There's some wood trim along with the brush trim underneath that. Leather on the armrest and the insert on the back section. This also has the Harman Kardon sound system. There's a little bit of storage space in the lower section of the door. M is also down on the door sill, and that leads us to these black leather seats, which again have a nice clean design to them. And at 5'10", I can make my way into these back seats where I have the front seat set at my height, so I have plenty of room for my feet and my legs. And as far as headroom goes, I'm almost up against the headliner, but it does cut up slightly to give me a little bit of headroom. So I am comfortable in the back of this. I could easily ride around town. Right in the middle, you'll see there are 2 air vents along with a little bit of storage. There's some auxiliaries in the lower section so you can charge electronics as needed. Now, if you don't have a center passenger, you can pull down the armrest and then you can utilize the 2 cup holders if you need to use those. You can also fold this middle seat down individually. So if you need a little bit more space to put in some longer items, you have the option to do that. As far as visibility goes from the back seats, very thin pillar there, so you can easily see around. This model even has the interior ambient lighting, so hopefully you can see that bluish purple color right now. There's also storage pockets behind both front seats to give you a little bit of extra room, which is of course great. Now, as we make our way to these front seats, the door panels finish off just like the rear. However, there's the addition of the memory seating adjustments. You can also release the rear trunk. There's more storage space in the lower section, and then the side mirror adjustments, all of the window controls as well. And then looking at these front seats, they have a great design to them. They are automatic seats with the exception of the manual adjustment up front, so you can push on that tab if you need a little bit more leg comfort. And it is very easy to enter the front seats, low door sill, which is great to have. And then as we move on to this steering wheel now, it's completely covered in solid black leather. You can see the M badge in the lower section. This is also a heated steering wheel. There's more brushed aluminum surrounding each side of it to tie it in nicely. Now on this right side, there's Bluetooth and voice commands along with volume and tuning. On the left side is all of the cruise control settings. This even has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters finished off in more of that brushed aluminum. But let's fire this 530i back up. With my foot on the brake, that button is over on the right side and we can bring this back to life. And looking at this digital gauge cluster, right in the middle, you can see the navigation, which is always pulled up, which is great to have. On the left side is the miles per hour as well as the fuel gauge. On the right side is the tach and the engine temperature. Now within that tach, currently you can see the odometer along with some other information. You can actually change that using this button on the top of the turn signal stalk. So if I push on that, now we can look at live readouts for horsepower and torque. So if I give this some gas, you can see those adjust. You can also pull up the G-force meter along with music. You can even look at what the vehicle is in as far as the driving mode and then what gear it is in as well. And then you can pull up a live readout for the MPG. It's not too configurable, but it is very helpful to have all of that information. Now over on the left side of the steering wheel is all the headlight adjustments along with the parking lights. There's one air vent, more of that trim, even the interior ambient lighting. This does have the heads-up display. It's currently showing miles per hour and the speed limit sign. And then right in the middle, we have this massive touchscreen system to go through a lot of information. As you can tell, the backup camera is currently pulled up with the sensors over on that right side. If I swipe over from the left, you can just pull up the parking sensors if you'd like to, but of course having that camera is very helpful. In the upper left is the home button, so we can come back to this screen where you have music. You can look at your phone, swipe over to some of that data information that you saw in the gauge cluster, look at traffic and the compass, even pull up the date and time along with the weather. You can configure that too, so depending on what you'd like to see. Also over on this left side, you can easily get to your phone when you have that paired. You can get to the music as well. Look at the navigation to pull that up in full screen and go through all that information. If you go into car, you can go through a lot more settings. I'm gonna move down to the rotary dial now to further go through this information. So you can see driving information, you can go to vehicle status. Going into the settings now, this is how you can configure a lot of information. You can go into the general settings, go into the driving mode. So as you can tell, this has sport and eco. You can look at the exterior lighting, your displays, even go through the interior lighting, so all of that ambient lighting, your climate adjustments, go through the key fob settings. It's very helpful to have all that information. You can even go through the driver profiles. So if you have more than one person driving this vehicle, you can easily set that up. And then if I go all the way back, the last one is apps. This does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and a few other installed apps just depending on what you like to use. And then to go through that system using the rest of these controls, you'll see shortcuts to map and navigation, menu, media and phone, that rotary dial that I was using. So it's very helpful to be able to use it as a touchscreen system or with all of those controls. Now there's more wood trim just underneath that leading all the way to the passenger side. And then right in the middle, there are two air vents. There's even a shortcut to the intelligent safety. So for this BMW, this has forward collision, the lane departure, steering assist, as well as the active blind spot. And then below that, there are presets for the radio. Power and volume is on this left side, tuning is on the right side. And then below that, we have all the adjustments for the dual zone, so you can quickly adjust those. This does have heated seats, which you can easily adjust. There's the temperature dials, fan speed as you saw. If I click on menu now, you can go through a lot more information in that upper screen there just to set it the way you'd like to. You can sync them, adjust where you'd like the air to go down here as well. There's even the defrosters. And then below that, you'll see more of this wood trim. If I cover that up, we have more on this cover, but opening it back up, there's a little bit of space along with a USB-C, a cup holder on both sides, even a 12-volt too. And then looking at this shifter now, the release is on the left side. If I push this forwards, that is for reverse, so you will see that pop up. I can go back into drive, pop it over to the manual setting, so you can shift using this or the paddle shifters themselves. And then to put it into park, you just click on the P. On the left side, you can see traction control along with the 3 different driving modes. So there's sport mode, and you'll see a few different modes for sport. There's also comfort. The last one is eco. You'll see the gauge cluster and the center infotainment system adjust just depending on the driving mode. There's the parking sensors, which you can turn on and off, along with the electronic parking brake and the auto hold assist. This also has the engine start stop feature just underneath that engine start stop button. And then right in the middle, we have the split style for the armrest. If I open this up, there's a good amount of storage along with the USB-C on the back section. And then for this glove box, plenty of room for all of the information that you need to place there. We'll take another look at the interior. Very nice design for the spec. Like I mentioned earlier, this does have a sunroof. We have the automatic sunshade to open up, as well as being able to adjust the sunroof further. The dome lights are on both sides. There's also a call button right in the middle. As we get behind the wheel now for this 2022 BMW 530i, this is a really nice sedan, and I like some of the options that this particular model has to offer. Now, as far as being a luxury sedan from BMW, this isn't quite on the highest level for BMW, but as far as a 5 Series goes, it pretty much has everything you want. All of these materials, as you've already seen, are very, very nice. I love all of the wood, even the interior ambient lighting. There is a strip that I just noticed that runs underneath the center infotainment system all the way to that passenger air vent. So I'm sure at nighttime, this is going to look pretty cool in adjusting all of those lights, just as a neat feature to have. But aside from that, it's a very nice sedan. I've put a few miles on this model so far. I've been in the 5 Series before, and they are so comfortable to drive. I am in comfort mode at the moment, but it's so quiet and comfortable. This is basically a luxury style sedan from BMW without having that huge cost factor if you don't need something larger than this 5 Series. It's adequate for 5 people, plenty of room in that cargo space, and yet it still has some performance to it. So if we go into a sport mode now, I can pop it over into the manual setting. We will go down to 2nd gear and give it a little bit of gas. This isn't a loud vehicle either. And while it's not too quick for the engine, obviously you can go with larger engines if you'd like to, but it's pretty responsive. So it's not quick, but the paddles are definitely responsive, and it'll get up and move. It's not slow, but it's not that performance oriented, but it gives you a good amount of power for the type of vehicle that this is. So I really like how BMWs do put some performance into their non-performance models, as far as being able to change the different driving modes. We have the M Sport brakes, so this has some of the performance characteristics to it, which is nice to see. As we come up to a sharp right, it handled that great. Very, very balanced around that turn, going at a good rate of speed. So like I said, you still get some of those performance characteristics for this luxury style 5 Series. It's definitely something that you could daily drive. You could drive this pretty much anywhere you want. And we have all the creature comforts, the heated seats. Everything is very user-friendly. That's what I love about BMWs the most, is that we have a lot of tech, but it's also very simple, straightforward, and easy to use. So there's not a whole lot of bells and whistles. The gauge cluster is not too configurable. It gives you everything that I showed earlier. And while that's it, that's really all you need. You don't need to go through and set up a million different settings. So I like that about BMW. It's super simple, straightforward, and it gives you what you need. And as we switch over to the POV angle, you can see what it's like to be behind the wheel for this 530i. Hopefully you can tell just how quiet this is. It's definitely going to give you that very refined feeling as far as being a BMW, being an excellent daily driver, super comfortable, very insulated as well. Even with cars passing, it's kind of minimal road noise, what you would kind of expect, but still, it gives you a great and comfortable ride. So we're gonna leave it in sport mode, pop it back into the manual setting as we come up to some of these turns again. I could see this being somewhat of a backroads type of vehicle. Someone who's really not interested in performance or doing spirited type driving like that, but you would be able to take these or take this on a trip, go on some back roads, and really feel how composed this is around turns. So that way your car can handle the best for you, and you can feel confident in driving your BMW. Now, this model, like I mentioned earlier, is rear-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is an option for the 530i. So if you're going to be driving in more inclement weather and you want the xDrive all-wheel drive system, you can definitely do that. And as we come up to this turn, going the other direction, definitely super planted. I just noticed too, there's even more interior lighting down in that compartment there, which is a great touch. And as far as visibility goes from this angle, you can easily see over that right shoulder. Quick glance over the left shoulder there, I can see out of that glass. So visibility is definitely not an issue. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for this 2022 BMW 530i. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this sedan for me today. Definitely check out their website. That link is down in the description. And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.